All right, welcome to this week's Fire Analytics meetup, SQL on Fire meet. Okay, so yeah, we were just chatting about the agenda before. So real quick, on top of housekeeping, and then we'll talk about decision on the Fire version to target, and then maybe talk about a few other minor things. Oh, and feedback from last year's analytics conference. I do want to talk about that.
I have
Um,
one more topic. One of our customers are interested in implementing
Mhm.
an awareness framework for reporting, which is Suffer. Have you heard about this? I can send a link.
Oh.
It's the IG is written for SQL, but they hope to implement it using SQL on Fire. So we're getting back to using SQL on Fire for measures.
Uh-huh.
If they will move forward, so I hope, yeah, maybe we can even contact the guys who created this. I saw the
Okay.
one of the leads, but that's interesting. So that we last meeting we discussed like measures and SQL on Fire, and this is another reminder for us.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And we do want to expand the group. We are having a birds of fire, birds of fire, birds of feather session in Pittsburgh on Sunday. So Adam and I are putting that together. Yeah, it's unfortunate you guys are not coming because there's a lot of interesting sessions going on in Pittsburgh. I guess there's a Zoom. You can like attend by Zoom these days to the Connectathon. So I don't know if that's an option for you guys. But anyway,
How does that work? Like, so they just kind of have a camera into each room or whatever?
I couldn't imagine.
honestly, no idea. I saw that as an option. I mean, it's for like the plenary and stuff. I'm
Maybe
looking at it.
yeah.
I have no idea. Like there's like a virtual option. Yeah, virtual webinar participation non-member. I don't know what that is. But anyway, all right, let's move along. So, yeah, housekeeping stuff. I know Brian is so slammed, like he is not getting anything done on this for sure. But I'll continue to bug him. Just Nikolai, you have a bunch of tickets or to dos out.
I was lazy this week. Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
Yeah, but maybe if Brian is so busy, I can do this. But we have to decide: do we want to do it for R4?
Yeah,
At least
yeah, yeah. Let's just. I mean, there's nothing. I was just looking at anything that we could just knock out, but I don't see anything that we can really take care of really quickly. Right. So let's just jump into. We want to start aligning on a decision for what versions of the spec. We've talked about this for a couple of weeks, maybe even a couple of months. I mean, I have my opinion about it, but I want to hear from you guys what we think, what you guys think. So Nikolai, you raised it, so maybe what would be
I
your
don't have
preferred
a
approach?
solid opinion. Looks like technically for now it's much simpler to do for R4 because IG Builder do support of it, and so we can do this and publish, and maybe wait for R6. And when R6 will be published, we can do the new edition or next version. So
That's generally my take.
that's my feeling. Otherwise, we will fight against the tools.
Yeah, it's unless there's real support for custom resources in R4 and that gets sort of backported in, or this specifically gets backported into R4.
I'm trying to push Graham this direction. So he said he's thinking because I think this is a good for Fire ecosystem if additional resources will be backported to R4.
Yeah.
So a lot of current problems may be solved, even like Gina's subscription problem with this strange R4B release. So if they topic definition to R4, that would be nice. And Graham presented test plan resource he want to rewrote, and I suggested that it should be additional resource. I don't know why the resources like this should be part of core at all.
Yeah. So
it's just the API part that's the problem, the operation definition part, right? Because the rest is kind of agnostic. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, as well, it's a small change, but nobody knows how it will be if ViewDefinition will become additional resource. What changes we should do, I don't know. So the new magic field, I don't know, are you aware of this or not? So we have a magic field resource type, and there will be a magic field which is called resource definition, which should be URL of additional resource, canonical URL. But that's probably we have to wait for R6. I don't know how when the release is scheduled. Or we can be first and push Graham to support IG builder for R6.
I mean, I think we want something for R4 users, and then it gets into like governance stuff that we put a pin in for a while because it's a I guess is it non-conformant to R4 or is it conformant? I don't
It
I don't
is conformant.
conformant, but it's a logical model. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
if it's
I get
logical model,
lost.
it is conformant. Yeah.
Right. So in theory, that ballot path, the officialness path is still open. So I don't, nobody's been banging on our door about that. So I think we can just continue to kick it down the road. But
Yeah, if everybody agree, I can move operations to the system level and
yeah, I, I don't think you were on, but when John, Steve, and I talked about it, but that's what I think our consensus was.
then we can discuss the preference.
Okay.
I think that the Brian suggested SQL, but I think it's wrong because so we should do like ViewDefinition run and ViewDefinition expert because SQL run probably will be related to the query, not to the ViewDefinition. It doesn't sound right for me. So
Yes, I agree with that, and I didn't make a big point about it, but I want to push back on that as well because for that same reason, like it's not. I know we call it SQL and FHIR. I make this point all the time, but like I want it to be more generic. Maybe we could talk about that. I mean, the query resource. I mean, we made the proposal for the query resource, but I th- I still hold out kind of a hope that that can be multilingual. I don't know if anybody still has an opinion about that.
I don't think that we should chase this. Like, we like anytime we can expand. Yeah, so be narrow and
Mhm.
then decide that something else deserve it. So then okay.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable take. I don't have the bandwidth to really flesh out that use case either, right? So, but I don't know if John, you have an opinion about that because you're probably maybe Steve, I don't know, have the most kind of feeling for something that's multilingual.
I think if we were to create it, it definitely should be multilingual. But it obviously, and I think the best way to make it useful is to drive it through a use case like that IG you were talking about, Nikolai, to actually take some, computable measures or something and actually put all the pieces in place to represent that and see how it actually works. But of course, like it doesn't, even if it's multilingual, it doesn't actually represent the sum total of things that we can use with SQL on Fire. I mean, SQL on Fire paradigm extends to things that aren't even like textual query things, like I want to, like, for example, with pathling, we use it with view definitions with like, pandas data frames, for example. And that's just another query, but it's not something that you want to be passing around like in resources and that sort of thing. And yeah, the name SQL on Fire kind of, it is a little bit of a confusing thing. The two main questions are, I think when people hear SQL on Fire, they kind of immediately have something in their head, and it's often either backwards, like they're thinking Fire on SQL, so they're thinking, oh, I can map my source system into Fire using this, or they're thinking, that we've defined some sort of something closer to like SQL on Fire version 1, I guess. But that's okay. Yeah, I think that the query resource thing has value. I just think it's probably more in that space of like computable things that you want to pass around as sort of definitional artifacts that might maybe go with a key and all that sort of stuff. And it's kind of just a useful thing to have. It's not the whole picture.
Okay, I don't need to. I mean, like, I don't need to necessarily push on this. And to Nikolai's point, like, if we keep in mind this potential for expansion, we can at least make changes. I think we just need to get. We've been kind of in a holding pattern for a while, so at least we need to. I think get the API across the line, and maybe first draft of the query resource. Actually, it'd be nice to have a V2, like be able to get to a V2 by when we put together the analytics conference. So
Yeah,
I think that would be a nice target.
That's good milestone, I think.
Yeah, let's shoot for that milestone. I know I'm putting myself up there, but I might have to corner Brian. All right. So yeah, V2 milestone, because it's always fun to have something to announce, right? Did we announce the V1 milestone of the last year?
I think yes.
You mean the V2 milestone?
Oh, so is this V3?
This would be V3, yeah.
V2 yeah.
No, I want to increment the major version number every year. That's my goal. Marketing.
Let's do it.
No, okay. All right.
But we are not breaking things, so like
V2.1. V2.1.
2.1 is good, yeah, I think.
V2.1 major. It's a major release, if not a major version number upgrade. Right. See, now this is helpful because I'm thinking about my presentation and it's forcing function. Go ahead, John.
So this would be the API stuff, but we limit it slightly so to sidestep the FHIR version thing. We make it into system level operations, and we finalize that in the IG and a model for query. Is that right? And maybe some other miscellaneous sort of things to the view definition and all the rest.
Yeah, I think that's that's what I would. Yep, yeah, that's what I've said. So API plus query resource plus like fixes, odds and ends. This kind of stuff, index and things like that kind of stuff that you're working on.
Yeah, I think the main things of the view definition are like the SQL type hinting, the repeat directive, the row index thing. So the two PRs that I'm working on are the repeat directive and the row index.
Repeat is important. Yeah. So do you have any draft, John, about repeat?
I'm just working on the tests. So I've kind of written the text. I kind of feel as though we need I think we need repeat and repeat or null because it's kind of in the same category as FHIR. And you kind of want an option to have like a left join and an inner join kind of version of it if you want that to be consistent and if you want to be able to do it without like if you do it and nothing comes out of it, does it return null or does it just swallow all the rows? So that's kind of the assumption that I went with, and then I'm just working on the tests and working on the JavaScript implementation. So I'm pretty close on that. So hopefully I should be able to do a PR before next week.
So the repeat is going to be like FHIR pass expression, which should be repeated unless it returns nothing. Yeah. And each iteration produce new row.
Yeah, that's right. So like if you actually give it a list of expressions and it looks for all those things. So if you can give it item and it'll keep going. You can give it item and then you can select text, right? So in a questionnaire, it'll go down to item. It'll get the text. It'll go to the sub item. It'll get that text. It'll go to a sub item. The reason that it's a list of things is because sometimes you want to go multiple paths and you actually do for questionnaire response because not only do you have to go item.item, you have to go item.answer.item. So if you wanted, for example, flatten a questionnaire response, you say repeat item, comma, answer.item, and it'll go down all the items and sub-items and also the items and the answer items, if that makes sense. So I think that works, and that's kind of what I proposed in that Zulip post, and I put a sort of worked example and everything, and that's kind of what I've been moving forward with.
I'm curious about repeat or null. So what the situation when we need it. So
I think repeat or null is exactly the same, except the only difference is that when that whole repeat block yields nothing,
yeah.
it puts a null in those columns, and it doesn't sort of swallow the things that it is being Cartesian producted with, if that makes sense. So same as for each. So if I had a for each and it selected like a empty collection,
Yeah.
that would actually swallow the whole resource, right? Because it's effectively an inner join. So if we want sort of a similar paradigm, because it is like a row generating thing, right? Then I think we need a repeat or null.
I'm trying to figure out how it will work with the recursive nature of repeat. And I'm doing repeat on the first level. For example, if it returns something, and on the second level it returns something, but on third level it returns nothing. And
yeah, so I think so the repeat as a whole. So yes, it's recursive in how it gets the rows that it's going to return, but the repeat or null is really, you can think of it as if it returns nothing for any of the levels, then it will be a null. If it returns something, then it'll generate rows. So if it returns something on the first level and nothing on the second level, it would still return a row, right? So it's kind of at that block level.
okay, we need some samples too.
Yeah, and I've updated the processing algorithm and all that. So I'll put that into a PR, and then we can talk about it in context of that. Yeah.
But essentially, internally, it should be like almost like for each, which is just doing
Yeah.
some.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just a variation, really.
All right. So we'll take a look at that, make some examples and take a look. Shall we talk about, Nikolai, what did you call it? Suffer? That's it.
Yeah,
Safer. Safer.
Yeah, it's still very early.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the idea the guys were talking about counting beds in the hospitals.
This is, I know who did this, right? This is Keith Boone, right?
Maybe, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I know that it was kicked off in COVID time.
Yeah, this is definitely Keith Boone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's Keith Boone did Saner. This is, I think, a
But this is
generation.
the next stuff after the center. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So how did you get connected with this? Or who was discussing it with you?
Yeah, we will talk with our customers if they really interested to implement it. If it will go, so we will probably make an implementation of this IG using ViewDefinition, maybe as extra IG for on FHIR. I don't know, something like this, and maybe we can try to push back to the guys who published this IG. Maybe even contribute.
Just looking over it quickly.
For the best, it's kind of simple expression to count encounters and patients.
Yeah.
Locations. So I'm pretty sure it will be quite trivial SQL.
Okay. All right. So use cases. Yeah. Real-time bed capacity, staffing.
Yeah,
needs
there's
during
some example, and it's quite trivial.
emergency response coordination for disaster evacuations. It's like counting resources, bed inclusion, exclusion criteria, that sort of thing. Okay. All right. Yeah. I'm a little bit familiar with this. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a definite interesting use case for SQL and FHIR. So yeah, just keep us
Yeah, sure.
aware of what's going on there.
Yeah, guys, quite slow, but yeah, I hope this is government organization. Yeah.
Everything is slow. Okay, cool. All right. Anything else? Then we can chat a little about conference stuff. All right. So let's talk. So just I was remembering we were thinking about feedback from last year. I have a couple of thoughts. But so let me just start with my thoughts then. So I was thinking shorter because it was quite long. I can only handle so much Zoom time personally myself. So I was thinking like half day, right? Morning to lunch. Get people early in the morning so they're sorry, John. They're more awake. Potentially shorter sessions.
Sure. How long?
Now,
15
yeah,
minutes, 5 for questions. Or
actually, let me look at what the duration was last time. It was we had 30-minute blocks last time. I think if I'm remembering, that mostly worked fairly well, except for the technical tour one, which overran for sure. No breaks, right? And just keep
yeah,
it
we definitely
going.
need breaks. Yeah,
You want breaks?
I think I don't know.
Maybe like super short breaks, 5 minutes.
Maybe 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
They could be filled with like roundtable discussions, but people can do what they want.
Maybe short breaks, but it doesn't like the feed doesn't go dead. Like maybe there's like
Yeah.
some interaction or something for 5 minutes. Because I think that let a lot of people left, right? We had a lot of drop off after that, and we
we
had a
can,
lot of drop off after lunch.
there's another option. We can split in 2 days and keep it short, like a meetup. I don't know, couple of hours each day.
Yeah,
And if we have session for 20 minutes, yeah, we can handle like 5 talks in a day. So we may have a 10 talks in 2 days.
that's another option. Yeah, I haven't considered that. I think it'll be also dependent on how many speakers we get. Last time we had 10 technically. Diego couldn't make it, so I had to do the round table, but I think we had 10. I think that was too much for one day, but I honestly don't know if we
Yeah,
get
10
10
for one
this
day,
time.
it's probably really too much. Even if they're gonna be like 15 minutes, it's too much. Let's think about splitting in 2 days. We'll have more capacity potentially if more people want to present. And maybe
Well, that's the thing. Like, I don't, given, some of the folks I know who are there last time, like they've just sort of dropped off and they're doing other things like John or Dan. So I would like to I'd like at least like like a half day. And then if we have extra, maybe we extend it in 2 days. Cause I don't know if we can fill 2 days.
I'm pretty sure that even on this meeting we have a five speakers. Yes, and
Well, maybe that's the first.
and that's one day. We don't
Right.
have
Maybe
here.
the first step is to like do a sort of call for speakers and figure out what we've got, and then figure out how to arrange it and deliver it. But yes,
Yeah.
I'm sure I can contribute a talk.
But
I think
it's about 10 talks as well, maybe even more, because we have some guys who built something on top of what Dan did. Yes, yeah. We have Bashir. So even if we count people now, so it's about like 6-7 talks already. Yeah, if there would be some, I don't know, maybe Brian want to say something about query resource. So that's 8 already. Yes, I'm pretty sure we will like have a couple more.
Okay.
Natural 7, so that's already 9.
Okay. All right. So, all right, let's plan. I'm going to plan it that way. Obviously with Daniil, Svetlana, Adam. Let's as a template 5 and 5, we'll make a call for speakers. We'll ping, the previous speakers, see what they're up to. I mean, I'm sure you guys at Health Samurai, you might have more than one. I think that's totally fair.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's have by one.
Let's everybody have one. We will need, I think the pattern I think worked fairly well last time, meaning like I did an intro, Ryan did a technical tour, like I said, that definitely flowed over. And then we had John, Bashir, Dan, yourself, Nikolai, and then we had after lunch we had Kieran, Carl, Graham, and Diego. Well, Diego didn't make it, but roundtable. But if we take that pattern, split into two, let's start with that form at least and see where we get to.
And we discussed that it's potentially beginning of December, yeah? Or you think about
Yes.
November, yeah? I think December is good. Yeah.
I like beginning of December.
Everybody can do this in December?
Steve,
Yeah,
happy to have you
great.
present.
Yeah, I'd love to do a quick presentation on what we've been building. That'd be great.
Awesome. Okay. All right. That gives me the outlines. And then, Adam, who was here and now he's gone. Adam, myself, Daniil, Svetlana, we have a lot of the infrastructure in place already. So it shouldn't be too much lifting. Okay. Wanted to get your take on that. So great. Any other feedback from last year?
I was a spectator, and most of my team were spectators, and I thought it was really well done. It was a great. The thing I liked about it was you got a pretty quick dose of all the different implementations that are out there, and you got a really quick intro into how everybody's using it. I thought it was really, really well done.
Thank you. Yeah. The Daniil and Health Samurai team did great.
They did great. Yeah.
Did a great job.
Yeah, let's keep it dynamic, more focused on use cases.
Mhm.
Other people too easy. I guess
Okay.
what I found that people still don't understand what it means and how it can be used. So when doing presentation and showing what they can achieve, they impressed.
The
They
other
heard something, but they never connected what they can do with it.
and the opposite is true too, Nikolai. I was surprised there was one or two implementations that sort of popped up that we had never heard of. You know, there's likely to be others out there that are sort of building in secret and eventually will reveal that they've got something available. We don't know. So that also surprised me last year. It's just oh wow,
Mhm.
I didn't even know about this other implementation and this other implementation. So it was pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, well, like FHIR this year, they put I don't know if you noticed, but they put a SQL on FHIR question in their state of FHIR thing. And yeah, there's lots of people reporting that they're doing SQL on FHIR, but I think that's like in a very broad sense of the word, probably. But yeah, it'd be great to understand more about what a seemingly pretty large cohort of people are doing in that space. I tried to do that Menti thing last year, which I think is a really cool way of kind of just surveying people in real time. But unfortunately, we had so many, I can't remember how many people we had on the call, but it was a lot. And it was running quite slow when I did it, which is weird because we actually use it quite a lot for things like Sparked and where we have like several hundred people and we never have a problem with it otherwise. But it's kind of like a way of sort of popping a few questions in there about what are you doing, what types of like things are you doing, and kind of getting a mini survey in real time. But yeah, any way of kind of finding out what people are doing, I think it would be really valuable.
Yeah,
Gene?
we had questions. Sorry, go ahead, Gene. I'll comment then.
Yeah, no, nothing major that you guys haven't heard before, probably. But the biggest thing I hear is that everybody or a lot of organizations are flattening FHIR data. They're doing it manually. They don't understand what the value of SQL on FHIR is, honestly. So maybe some really simple, easy to understand visuals. And here's an example of the work you have to do to flatten this data, how much time it takes and how hard it is. And here's the benefits of using SQL on FHIR. That would be really awesome, I think, to spread the benefits of it. Because that's in my past, when I was at BUL, I brought up SQL on FHIR multiple times and people always push back, what is it? Why do we need to do it differently than what we already did? Right? Because we already did all the work to flatten all this pipelines and everything. So, I mean, I think that would be really helpful.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah, definitely. putting some more work towards explanation, use cases, rather than, kind of tour the spec. So, I mean, I think we did a fairly good job of that last time, but we can always improve, I think, in that area. Yeah, it's just like hasn't quite permeated kind of the mindset of folks to a really strong degree yet. So we want to change that. Yeah, just going back to
Just
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, just before we move on, Gene, do you have a good understanding of what sort of technologies these people are using and that we could potentially target? I've just got in the back of my mind because I've got yet another project that's in about 80% completion, which is Microsoft SQL Server, SQL on FHIR Runner, which is kind of designed to help fill that gap because I know a lot of people are using that technology. But I was just wondering if you had a quick read on that.
Yeah, so what I'm familiar with is like Databricks is a big one. Just doing, pipelines and Spark and whatever, and running that from, whatever the fire repos. So yeah, I'm familiar with us doing it for Databricks, but I've heard people doing same things with all different kind of, technologies. So just like you mentioned.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
well.
that's an area we can continue on. John, you're revealing yet another project that you're involved in.
Oh, that's okay. It's not a secret.
It's not a secret, but I'm worried about your workload for you.
Well,
But
we're also releasing our Pathling 8 imminently, which is effectively the SQL on Fire reimagined version of Pathling, which is the solution for Databricks. So Databricks have their own thing called now I can't even remember what it's called. But it's very minimal, and it's really just a way of putting fire data sort of another profile specific sort of way of putting a fire data into a data frame, and then you kind of just work it out yourself from there, writing sort of lots of intricate SQL. So I'm hoping that we can, now that we're getting Pathling 8 out, we can get the word out a bit more and get a lot of Databricks users onto that, because that's in my opinion the perfect solution for Databricks.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, and we're definitely with Gene's help in particular, trying to engage a little bit more with the Databricks folks, to engage a little bit more. They've kind of
I
been in
didn't
and
know,
out.
but they were already engaged before.
Yeah, they were. Yes, yeah, they were. And they kind of petered out a little bit, but a little bit of effort to bring them back in. And the other bigger organizations, I think they should have an interest in this. I mean, we've talked to folks, and maybe some of you guys have talked to folks who are their customers, and not naming any names, but are interested in SQL on Fire, but the big vendors
They're
haven't really.
$100 company now, so
They're $100 billion company.
$1 company, right? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I mean,
100 billion.
that's not that much money anymore, actually.
I mean, compared to like Microsoft,
Honestly.
compared to like what OpenAI is in and all those other ones on top, but like still, that's pretty major for a data company, I think.
Yeah, I always hear good things from their users. I was a user back a couple years ago, but I always hear really good things in terms of how they do things and their technology stack. So anyway, we'll try to bring some folks from Databricks along. Yes, and Menti. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I like the idea. I think I think I probably bungled the execution at some point. It's the first time I tried it. But yeah, we could do some interactive stuff. So if you guys have ideas about interactivity, maybe those are good for like the breaks too, just to keep people engaged. Like you don't have to be involved, but like maybe some kind of. I'd like to keep it going to have less drop off. Like I said, I mean, we had hundreds and hundreds of people. I think we had like 700 people at the beginning, which is amazing. Maybe we can beat that this year. I don't know, but I'd like to keep it kind of rolling such that we don't have these. We had the major one was post launch, which you can kind of understand. So, okay, that's what I had for the conference. I think that's it for me in terms of my agenda. Anything else from you guys? No. All right. We
can discuss AI tools.
Oh, that is one thing we should mention. Maybe we have an AI roundtable or something. Like we don't, we stuff the kinds of things that Gene was showing. I mean, that's definitely an option. But in case we have, I think that might be a nice kind of roundtable. Or like, what did we call it before?
Roundtable.
Show. Well, we said like the showcase was kind of like shorter. Maybe we have like a showcase / roundtable. I'll ask folks like if they are doing AI tools MCP related to SQL and FHIR, and that like in my call for participants, and that way I'll get like a little bit of a better view maybe, and then based on that we can see like how we program it.
I don't know, guys. Have you seen what our forms team did with a ViewDefinition agent who can build questionnaires? And these guys, so we just discussed, they're gonna build similar stuff for ViewDefinitions. So our engineer Alim, he built like agent. He essentially reverse engineered Cloud Code, and he built a similar stuff to build questionnaires step by step and interact with the visual builder. And this guy is gonna work on ViewDefinition builder as well. So it's gonna be like second version, much more advanced at that time.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so we're getting actually pretty serious about this. Like, obviously, everybody's doing this to some extent or another. But as an example, we're having a Australian Connectathon on Monday, and Graham and I are doing a session about this, like, and all sorts of different use cases. Like generation of IGs from functional requirements, generation of facades from source systems, generation of terminology mappings, all different use cases. And I think the emphasis is on like how can we sort of create data sets and benchmarks and that sort of thing to cooperate and improve this. So like in the context of SQL and FHIR, I think we need like examples, like and kind of training material, like so prompts and view definitions, and also ground truth, so that we can kind of evaluate the performance of things. So if the task is generating view definitions from prompts, that's sort of one task, and then we can sort of start to evaluate how good these things are, and also perhaps build a larger common resource of examples that we can all sort of share to feed into what we're doing.
As
So
well,
maybe that's kind of a side project.
As well, operation like run operation, and we forget a little bit about validate operation, but I think agents can get a lot from if they will have validate operation, so they can loop against the view definition, and if they have a run operation, they can run it. So it's not. So what I found that MCP is not really important. So these guys can do like CLI tools calls or REST calls. So it doesn't matter for them is it MCP or not. But if we will have like this standard operation, one of our guys tried to write IG completely using just REST API for the FHIR server, like terminology and all this stuff, and it works quite well. So, but to make this loop closer, so all this stuff like validate, run, something else, they may help agent.
Maybe create a dashboard on the fly.
It'd be a great demo too, right? Like, self improving, right?
Yeah, I think that's totally feasible. So like, yeah, there's a couple of pieces to it, so if you can generate the view definitions, and then you can execute the view definitions, and then you can expose the views to the model as just things it can write SQL over the top of and actually query and get the results. And then it can do all the data science on top as well. So if you've got all those pieces, you could do an amazing sort of demo.
That's our okay. So John, I've got a project for you for December. Well, Monday, just work it out with Graham. But no, this is exciting. Honestly, like I think we can put together some really exciting content for December. We've got a little bit of runway, and I think this is coming. This feels like it's coming together like a really interesting media conference that we can all be proud of. So,
Nikolai, if you guys want to collaborate on this view definition builder, because I was
sure.
trying to do the same thing, so maybe we don't need to duplicate.
Yeah. Let's discuss, because I already working on the advanced FHIR pass analyzer and the autocomplete LSP server, because this is essentially the most complicated part. The rest is quite easy. So, and this FHIR pass LSP is going to be open source, and the view definition builder, we can do this as well. And if we will have the run operation and the validate, so it can be easily integrated with. And I think this is a good goal for the December conference, like maybe on this view definition builder, which can call different engines, and maybe we can give people to play with it with the different engines. So this is for Steve and John to support that. We will break a little bit API now, but essentially it's going to be the same, just different URL.
And I'm going to see if I can get anywhere with the CQL to SQL stuff. I got someone shared the repo from the VA that apparently did something about that I never knew about. So I'm going to try to integrate that and see if there's something usable we can maybe show in December or something. That could be really cool too.
Can you
we
talk
just
about that?
Yeah, just before we discussed Suffer, and that some of our customers interested to translate Suffer. Do you know Suffer? I sent the link in the chat. It's a situation awareness framework, blah blah blah, and it has some SQL to counting the beds in the hospitals, and the guys are interested to translate it to SQL. It's quite simple, but guys want to use it, so if we can do it together, that would be nice. So
yeah, I'll take a look at that, see if I can use it as a use case.
Yeah, I think Gene, just we're discussing the the content of the conference. Like I think there's a CQL, SQL, CQL angle. So potentially that's something you'd want to take on, or try to collaborate on. So okay, cool. So this gives me a foundation. I will write this stuff up, just get organized with Daniil, and then we'll start kicking it off in terms of calls. I'll probably ping some of the previous folks. I'll DM them just to kind of see where they're at, and then we'll start. What we do is expand further and further out. So, okay, cool. This gives me a lot of help. So, thanks everybody. Yep, we're at time. So, if there's nothing else, then see you next week.
thank you guys.
All right, see you guys. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
All right,
See ya.
thank you.